In the bustling heart of a modern city where neon lights flickered alongside the remnants of ancient magic, Lin lived a life woven from threads of mediocrity. Each morning, he would step into his modest workshop, a space cluttered with tools of his trade, spools of vibrant threads, shards of glass, and uncut stones. Here, he transformed mundane materials into exquisite pieces of art, yet the world outside his door seemed oblivious to his talent. He was a craftsman, yes, but also something more. A weaver. Lin possessed an extraordinary ability. He could manipulate reality itself through intricate weaving techniques that had been passed down through generations, a secret art known to only a few. With a deft flick of his fingers, he could weave together strands of matter, creating anything from delicate ornaments to sturdy tools. Yet, in a society enamored with technology, his gifts were largely dismissed as quaint relics of a bygone era. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the city. Lin felt the familiar tug of restlessness. He had been poring over his latest project, a tapestry that depicted the vibrant life of the city, but as the threads intertwined, his mind wandered. What was the purpose of his craft if no one recognized its value? He yearned for something more, a sense of purpose, perhaps, or adventure. One evening, while rummaging through an old storage unit in the back of his workshop, Lin stumbled upon a peculiar artifact, a small, intricately designed box made of obsidian. It felt strangely warm against his palm, and as he opened it, a soft light emanated from within. Inside lay a shimmering thread, unlike any he had ever seen. It pulsed with an energy that resonated deep within him, awakening a dormant part of his being. The moment he grasped the thread, a vision erupted in his mind, a world fracturing, reality collapsing like a house of cards. Chaos unfolded before him, cities crumbling, people screaming, shadows of a malevolent figure dancing in the flames of destruction. A voice echoed in his mind, warning him of an imminent disaster. Lin stumbled back, gasping for breath. He could feel the weight of the thread in his hand, the pull of its power beckoning him. The vision had been too vivid, too real. He knew he couldn't ignore it. The following days were a whirlwind of uncertainty and fear. The city felt different, an unsettling energy crackled in the air. Rumors circulated about strange occurrences, distorted realities, objects shifting shape, and shadows lurking in places they shouldn't. Lin felt compelled to act, to discover the source of the disturbance. It wasn't long before he encountered others who shared his concerns. While tending to his workshop, he was approached by a young woman named Maya, whose sharp eyes glinted with intelligence. She was a hacker, skilled in uncovering the hidden truths of the digital world. "I've been tracking anomalies in the system," she said, her voice low and urgent. "Something is manipulating reality itself." Intrigued, Lin shared his experience with the obsidian box and the vision that had haunted him. Maya's eyes widened with recognition. This could be connected to a powerful entity known as the Manipulator. He's been rumored to possess abilities that can rewrite the fabric of reality. Before he could process her words, they were joined by a tall, imposing figure named Jean. A warrior with a stoic demeanor, he radiated an aura of confidence. "I've faced the Manipulator before," Jean said, his voice steady. "He seeks to create a new world order by bending reality to his will. We need to stop him before he unleashes chaos on the city." As they strategized, Lin felt a flicker of hope ignite within him. Perhaps he wasn't meant to simply weave objects but to weave reality itself in defense of his home. Yet, doubt crept in. Could he truly harness his abilities against such a formidable foe? Days turned into nights as the trio delved deeper into their mission. They gathered intelligence, observing the shifts in reality that the Manipulator orchestrated. Lin trained alongside Jean, learning to refine his weaving skills. Under Jin's guidance, he discovered that he could create barriers to protect his friends and weapons to fight back against the encroaching darkness. One evening, as they practiced in a secluded part of the city, Lin summoned his courage. "I can create things, objects that can help us fight," he declared. "But what if it's not enough? What if I can't control it?" Jean placed a firm hand on Lin's shoulder. "You have to believe in yourself. Your abilities are a gift. The true danger lies in fear. Embrace your power, only then will you be able to weave reality as you see fit." As their training progressed, Lin began to unlock new aspects of his abilities. He learned to weave illusions, creating distractions that could confuse the manipulator's forces. Each day brought a new revelation, a new thread of possibility. However, the stakes grew higher. The manipulator escalated his attacks, wreaking havoc across the city. Buildings twisted and warped as reality itself seemed to unravel. Lin and his allies worked tirelessly to thwart the chaos, but the more they fought back, the more they realized the depth of their adversary's power. One fateful night, the city plunged into darkness. The sky roiled with unnatural storms, and Lin could feel the air thrum with tension. They had discovered that the manipulator planned to unleash a catastrophic event that would collapse the city's reality into a singularity, allowing him to reshape it in his image. "We have to confront him at the Nexus," Maya urged. "It's the heart of his power." With a mixture of fear and determination, Lin nodded. They set their plan into motion, aware that this could be their last stand. As they approached the Nexus, a swirling vortex of energy loomed before them, distorting everything in its vicinity. Shadows flickered, and amidst the chaos stood the manipulator, cloaked in an aura of malevolence. He turned to face them, a cruel smile playing on his lips. "You think you can stop me? Reality is but a tapestry, and I hold the loom." Lin's heart raced as he stepped forward, weaving the energy around him into protective barriers. The ground trembled as the manipulator unleashed waves of reality-warping energy, but Lin countered with his own creations, blades of light that sliced through the air, shimmering threads that bound the chaos. The battle intensified, each clash of power sending ripples through the very fabric of existence. Lin felt the weight of his fears pressing down on him, threatening to drown him in doubt. Yet, as he fought alongside Maya and Jean, he realized that he was not alone. Together, they were stronger than the sum of their parts. In a moment of desperation, Lin summoned all his energy, weaving a grand tapestry of protection around his friends. The threads glowed brightly, illuminating the darkness. "We can do this," he shouted, rallying his allies. "We can weave our own fate." As they pushed forward, Lin felt a surge of clarity. He embraced his ability to weave not just objects but emotions, courage, and hope into reality. With each thread he conjured, he felt the chaos recede, the shadows falter, but the manipulator wasn't finished. With a roar of frustration, he unleashed a final wave of energy, aiming to obliterate Lin and his friends. In that moment, time seemed to slow. Lin knew he had to act decisively. Drawing upon everything he had learned, he focused all his will into a single, powerful weave. The threads of reality shimmered as he combined his energy with that of Maya and Jean. Together, they formed a brilliant barrier, reflecting the manipulator's attack back at him. In a blinding flash, the two forces collided. The Nexus erupted in a whirlwind of color and sound, reality itself bending and twisting. Lin felt the fabric of existence tremble around him, and for a fleeting moment, he glimpsed a vision of what could be, a world healed, a reality restored. As the dust settled, Lin opened his eyes. He lay on the ground, breathless, surrounded by his allies. The Nexus had transformed into a serene landscape, the chaos dissipating like mist in the morning sun. The manipulator was nowhere to be found, his power broken. Victory surged through Lin, yet he knew the battle had only just begun. There were other forces out there, other realities to protect. But for now, he had woven a fragile peace. With a newfound purpose, Lin stood, looking at Maya and Jean. They shared a smile, a silent acknowledgement of their bond. Lin realized that his journey had transformed him not only as a weaver but as a protector of reality itself. As they stepped forward into the new dawn, Lin felt the threads of fate intertwine once more, a tapestry of hope stretching out before them. As Lin, Maya, and Jean emerged from the remnants of the Nexus, the air felt lighter, almost electric with possibility. The chaotic energy that had once threatened to consume them was now a whisper in the wind. Lin glanced around, absorbing the transformed landscape, a city on the brink of renewal, where the scars of conflict would soon heal. But even in this moment of triumph, Lin couldn't shake the feeling that the battle had merely shifted. They had defeated the manipulator, but his influence lingered in the shadows. The city, although quiet now, bore the weight of uncertainty. What would come next? Would others like the manipulator rise to fill the void he left behind? As they walked, Lin felt a surge of determination. He had tasted the power of creation and the responsibility that came with it. "We need to ensure that something like this never happens again," he said, breaking the silence that had settled around them. Maya nodded, her expression serious. "We can start by documenting what we've learned. There are more like us, people with abilities who might not even know they can wield them. If we can find them, we can build a network, a community to support and educate each other." Jean, ever the strategist, chimed in, "We should also investigate any remaining disturbances. The manipulator had followers. We can't assume that he was working alone. They might still be out there, plotting." The trio moved through the streets, now bathed in the golden light of dawn. Lin felt the energy of the city shift beneath his feet. People began to emerge from their homes, cautiously stepping into the sunlight, relief washing over their faces. It was a new day, and Lin was determined to help them reclaim their lives. They made their way to Lin's workshop, a familiar haven amidst the chaos. As they entered, he felt a sense of grounding. Surrounded by his tools, he began to outline a plan. "Let's create a gathering space," he suggested. "A place where we can teach others about weaving and the responsibilities that come with it." Maya began jotting down ideas, her fingers flying across the tablet she always carried. "We can set up workshops, invite people to learn about their potential. We could hold discussions on ethics, on the balance between creation and destruction." As they brainstormed, Lin's mind wandered back to the obsidian artifact that had set everything into motion. He had tucked it away for safekeeping, and he felt an urge to examine it more closely. "Let me grab something," he said, stepping into the back room. When he returned, he held the box in his hands. The thread inside still shimmered, pulsating with an energy that seemed to resonate with his very being. "This artifact, it's tied to everything that happened. I need to understand it better," Lin explained, feeling the weight of its significance. Maya leaned closer, her curiosity piqued. "It might hold the key to understanding the manipulator's motives. If we can decode its secrets, we could uncover how he was able to alter reality." Together, they examined the thread and the box, their minds racing with possibilities. Lin could feel the threads of destiny weaving around them once more, pushing him toward discovery. As they worked, he sensed that the artifact was more than a tool. It was a bridge between the past and the future, holding the wisdom of those who had come before him. Hours slipped away as they delved into the intricacies of the artifact. Lin felt a connection growing, not just to the thread itself, but to the legacy of the weavers who had come before him. Each twist and turn of the thread seemed to whisper secrets, revealing glimpses of ancient techniques that had long been forgotten. As night fell, Lin's fingers moved deftly, tracing the patterns of the thread. Suddenly, a surge of energy jolted through him, and a vision unfurled in his mind, a vast tapestry depicting the history of weaving, vibrant scenes of creation and destruction intertwined. He saw figures shrouded in shadow, weavers from ages past, their faces marked by both triumph and sorrow. The vision faded, but the knowledge lingered. Lin gasped, breathless with the weight of what he had witnessed. "I saw the history of our craft," he stammered. "There's so much more to it than I realized. We need to honor those who came before us." Maya's eyes sparkled with excitement. "This could be the foundation for our community. We can share their stories, the lessons learned from their struggles. It'll create a sense of unity and purpose." Jean crossed his arms, contemplating. "We should also consider creating a council, a group of leaders who can guide our efforts and ensure that we remain vigilant against future threats. We've seen how quickly things can spiral out of control." The three of them worked late into the night, fueled by inspiration and determination. They drafted plans for their community, envisioning a sanctuary for weavers where knowledge could be shared freely, where the art of weaving could flourish without fear of persecution. They wrote down guidelines that would emphasize responsibility, ethics, and the delicate balance of power. As dawn broke once more, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold, they stood together, surveying their plans. Lin felt a sense of purpose igniting within him, a flame that had been dormant for too long. He was no longer just a craftsman, he was a guardian of reality, a weaver of fate. Weeks passed, and the community began to take shape. Word spread throughout the city about Lin and his allies, drawing in others who possessed abilities similar to his. They gathered at the workshop, a blend of eager faces filled with curiosity and apprehension. Lin stood before them, his heart racing with anticipation. "Welcome," he began, his voice steady. "We stand on the precipice of something new. Together, we will explore the art of weaving, not just as a craft, but as a means of understanding our reality. We will learn from each other, support one another, and ensure that our abilities are used for the greater good." The room buzzed with excitement as discussions blossomed. People shared their stories, some had always known of their gifts, while others had stumbled upon them in moments of crisis. Lin felt a deep sense of connection with each person, recognizing their potential and the importance of their collective journey. As they delved into lessons and practices, Lin and his allies introduced the principles of ethics in weaving. They emphasized that while their abilities granted them power, it was their choices that would define their impact on the world. Together, they wove a new tapestry, a community anchored in understanding and collaboration. However, Lin remained vigilant. He often sensed an undercurrent of unrest, whispers of danger lingered in the air. The shadows that had once been banished felt like distant echoes, but Lin knew better than to dismiss them. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the workshop, Lin sat alone, contemplating the path ahead. The artifact lay on the table before him, its allure still captivating. He felt an insatiable curiosity, a need to explore its depths further. In that moment of solitude, a voice broke the silence. "You're lost in thought, Lin." It was Maya, her expression one of concern. "What's on your mind?" Lin sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I just can't shake the feeling that we're not done yet. The manipulator may be gone, but what if there are others who seek to exploit our abilities? What if they're waiting for us to let our guard down? Maya nodded, her brow furrowing. I've been monitoring digital channels, and there's been an uptick in chatter, people speaking of power and control. It's as if someone is trying to rally a following. Jean stepped into the room, a determined look on his face. We need to investigate. We can't afford to let complacency set in. If there are others out there, we need to know who they are and what they want. That night, the trio set out to uncover the whispers that had reached their ears. They combed through the city, moving between dark alleys and crowded marketplaces, seeking any sign of the gathering threat. Their resolve burned bright, but as they delved deeper, they unearthed a network of individuals who revered the manipulator's ideals, those who believed in the supremacy of power over the delicate threads of reality. In a hidden underground meeting, they discovered a group of fervent followers, a motley crew of individuals who had been drawn to the manipulator's vision. They sought to revive his work, to bend reality to their whims, and they spoke of chaos as a path to freedom. Lin's heart raced as he listened to their fervent declarations. He and his allies exchanged glances, the weight of their mission pressing down on them. They had to confront this emerging threat before it could take root. Back at the workshop, the community rallied together. Lin called for a gathering, determined to prepare his allies for the challenges ahead. As the room filled with faces illuminated by flickering candlelight, he spoke passionately. We've built something incredible here, a sanctuary for weavers. But we must protect it. There are those who would use our gifts for destruction. We cannot allow that to happen. Maya stepped forward, her voice strong. We need to create a plan for defense. We should train together, prepare for any encounters, and establish a network of communication. If we can't trust the outside world, we must trust each other. Jean added, it's essential that we remain vigilant. We can't let fear dictate our actions, but we must be prepared for the worst. Our strength lies in our unity. With newfound purpose, they organized training sessions, focusing on not just weaving but also strategy and collaboration. The community became a formidable force, learning to channel their abilities together, weaving not just objects, but bonds of trust and resilience. As weeks turned into months, they faced challenges, both internal and external. Some members struggled with the weight of their powers, while others grappled with the ethics of wielding such abilities. Lin facilitated discussions, encouraging open dialogue, fostering an environment where everyone could voice their concerns, but the threat they had sensed never fully faded. They received reports of skirmishes across the city, confrontations between the followers of the manipulator and those who sought to protect the fragile peace. Lin knew that a reckoning was approaching. One night, as rain poured outside, the trio gathered in the workshop, poring over maps and reports. They had tracked the movements of the followers and discovered their intent to launch a major attack on the city, a demonstration of power meant to sow fear and chaos. This is it, Lin said, his voice steady despite the rising tension. We need to mobilize our community. If we confront them head-on, we can stop this before it escalates. Maya nodded, her determination shining through. We'll need to establish a perimeter, protect the civilians, and confront them with our collective strength. Jin's eyes glinted with resolve. We'll create a diversion, draw them into an open area where we can contain them. Our goal isn't just to defeat them but to show them the consequences of their actions. They need to understand that their ideals of power will not be tolerated. As they finalized their plans, Lin felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. The threads of fate twisted and turned around him, but he was ready to weave his destiny anew. With each step, he felt the strength of his community behind him, a tapestry of hope and determination. The night of confrontation arrived, the air thick with tension. Lin stood at the forefront of his allies, a united front ready to defend their home. The streets felt charged, whispers of fear mingling with a sense of purpose. They moved as one, weaving a path through the city toward the designated meeting place where the followers had gathered. As they approached, the shadows loomed larger, figures clad in dark cloaks gathered in a tight circle, their energy pulsing with intent. Lin's heart raced, but he felt a surge of resolve. This was their moment, together. Lin shouted, his voice ringing through the air. We stand united against the forces of chaos. We will not allow your vision to tarnish our reality. The followers turned, eyes glinting with a mix of surprise and anger. In that instant, Lin felt the energy shift, a palpable tension rising as both sides prepared for conflict. With a flick of his wrist, Lin wove a barrier of light, illuminating the darkness around them. Maya and Jean flanked him, their expressions fierce. The followers surged forward, chanting the ideals of the manipulator, but Lin stood firm. The clash erupted, a storm of energy and sound. Lin and his allies fought back, weaving barriers and weapons as they pushed against the tide of chaos. The air crackled with power, each spell casting and weave a testament to their training and resolve. In the chaos, Lin caught glimpses of his allies working together, a tapestry of light and shadow. They formed protective circles, redirected energy, and created illusions to confound their enemies. But the followers were relentless, fueled by a blind faith in their cause. As the battle raged on, Lin felt himself drawn into the heart of the conflict. He confronted one of the leaders, a figure shrouded in darkness, whose voice dripped with disdain. You think you can protect this city? You are nothing but a fleeting moment in the grand tapestry of power. With a fierce determination, Lin replied, we are the weavers of our own fate. Your chaos will not prevail. Summoning all his strength, Lin wove a thread of pure energy, channeling it into a powerful strike that shattered the darkness surrounding his opponent. The leader stumbled back, shock etched on their face as the tides began to turn, but just as Lin felt the momentum shift, a surge of energy erupted from the followers. The ground trembled as reality warped around them, a desperate attempt to reclaim their lost power. Lin's heart raced, they needed to act fast, now. Together, he shouted, rallying his allies. With every ounce of their collective energy, they wove a magnificent tapestry, a barrier infused with hope, determination, and the strength of their shared purpose. The wave of energy crashed against the followers' chaotic onslaught, a brilliant explosion of light that lit up the night sky. Lin felt the threads of reality intertwine around him, binding them together in a force that transcended the chaos. As the dust settled, Lin stood breathless, surrounded by his allies. The followers lay defeated, their power shattered. They had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, but Lin knew that this was not merely a battle won, it was a testament to the strength of their community. In the aftermath, they gathered to reflect, the weight of their experience hanging heavily in the air. We've shown them that power without responsibility is a path to destruction, Maya said, her voice strong. But we must remain vigilant. This won't be the last we hear from them. Lin nodded, resolve filling him anew. We will keep building our community, fostering understanding and strength. Together, we'll ensure that our reality remains intact. As they began to clean up the remnants of the confrontation, Lin felt a renewed sense of purpose. The threads of fate had woven them together, creating a tapestry that could withstand any storm. They were more than just individuals with abilities, they were a force for good, guardians of a reality worth protecting. In the days that followed, the community thrived. They held gatherings, sharing stories and knowledge, celebrating their victories while remaining aware of the challenges ahead. Lin found joy in teaching others, guiding them as they discovered their own abilities and potential. The city began to heal, its vibrant energy returning as hope blossomed anew. Lin often looked to the horizon, knowing that the world was vast and filled with both beauty and darkness. But he also knew that as long as they stood united, they could face whatever came next, and in the depths of his heart, Lin understood that the art of weaving was not just about creating, it was about connection, about the threads that bound them all together. It was a craft rooted in responsibility and love, a reminder that their reality was a delicate tapestry worth safeguarding. As the sun set each evening, painting the sky in brilliant colors, Lin felt a sense of peace wash over him. The future was uncertain, but together, they would weave a reality filled with hope, creativity, and purpose. With each passing day, they grew stronger, their bonds intertwining like the threads of a beautiful tapestry, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. And so, they continued, a community of weavers standing against the shadows, crafting their own fate in a world brimming with possibility.